Welcome to Elite Expert Insider Podcast, where we will inspire, motivate, and educate entrepreneurs, innovators, and growth seekers. Brought to you by Elite Online Publishing, making the best and brightest in the industry #1 best-selling authors. 80% of people say they want to write a book. We're assuming that's the same for you. If so, contact us at www.eliteonlinepublishing.com and make your book a reality. Hey, it's Melanie Johnson along with Jen Foster again today for another great super podcast. We are so glad that you're here to join us. We are going to teach you today with our fabulous guest, Dr. Pele, how to make more money by getting big ticket clients, taking that leap and knowing your value and your worth. If you want to know how to make more money per year and get those big ticket clients, well, you better stay tuned. But first, I want to let you know, if you're looking to write a book and become an author like Dr. Pele and many of our other guests that we have on here, please reach out to Jen Foster and I from our website. You can go to eliteonlinepublishing.com. Just go to the author submissions, and we would love to help you become a best-selling author and work with you and make your dreams come true and teach you how to market your book and leverage it to get those big ticket clients like we're going to talk about today. And also, Jen keeps telling me, make sure to tell you to subscribe to the podcast. So when you get that second, before you start to listen, pause this, hit that subscribe button, leave us a comment. We would love to hear from you. We just got notice that we are right behind Damon John's podcast. So we're really excited about that. We've been trending in the podcast in the iTunes world. So jump on board and leave us a review. We would really appreciate that. So Dr. Pele, thank you so much for joining us today. You have such an interesting background. You came from Africa as a refugee. You've written not one, but 4 books. Thanks for joining us.
Oh, thank you. I'm very happy to be here.
That's great. Well, how on earth did you make your way from war zone in Africa to the heights of corporate America? And now you're writing books and music and coaching and top earning consultants and B2B companies. How did you do all that?
Well, I appreciate that question. I want to start by saying I didn't come to America as a refugee. I was a refugee in Africa. And what I mean by being a refugee in Africa is when I was a very young child, 2-3 years old, there was a bloody war in actually Nigeria. It was called the Biafra War. And millions of people were dying. You can imagine bombs were falling, just a terrible scene. In fact, if you can think of those pictures where you see the young children, black and white pictures with the flies buzzing around their faces and their big kwashiorkor stomachs, I was one of those kids, okay? So I lived in a refugee camp and we had no money. All we had was fear and hunger. But my mother did something fascinating to me back then at that young age that has really shaped my entire life. And really is the reason why I have clients that are making $150,000 in their first podcast launch and within 30 days. It's the reason why I interview people like Ron Carson, who makes $15 billion in assets a year. The reason is my mother wouldn't give us food, but she would sing to us. She would sing and tell stories. And so somewhere in my wiring, my neural networks, I sort of connected storytelling and music, singing, to happiness and joy. And I didn't need any food anymore because I was alive. The stories brought me alive. So I've been a storyteller all my life. And so when I came to America in around 87, first thing I did was, after high school, of course, I got my BA, MBA, PhD, all of that stuff, started writing books, and I've been telling stories ever since. So that's what got me here, is the passion of storytelling and singing.
So you've written several books, but tell me, what led you when you got from music to singing to business to big ticket clients? What motivated you to get into that niche and to write the book about how to get big ticket clients?
Can I be absolutely honest, Melanie? And do I have your permission?
Absolutely. We want the real deal. Be genuine. Get down to the nitty gritty with us. Don't hide anything.
I was broke. I was dirt poor, obviously coming from very humble beginnings. And I really wanted to understand what is the magic, right, that people are performing to become successful financially so they can take care of their families, so that they don't have bombs falling on top of them like I did when I was a child. And I learned very quickly that you can have all the knowledge in the world. You can be the most credible person alive. But if you don't have the authority and the celebrity, if no one knows who you are, sorry, it doesn't matter, right? All your talent and your skill and all that stuff does not produce the income you need to take care of your family. So it was after years of coaching. I was an executive coach for Fortune 500 companies, working with, top earning consultants and so on. But it was after working with a lot of folks that I realized there's a difference between small ticket marketing, which, all the noise you hear on the internet is usually small ticket. They're selling $79 courses and $999 coaching, all that stuff. There's a difference between small ticket marketing and what I call big ticket or account-based marketing, where you pick an individual or you pick a company and you really get to know them. You build a relationship with them. And that's where not only the real, for me, success lies, but also you get paid a little bit better when you're working with big ticket clients. And the whole world is just a better place when people solve really big problems and get paid well for it, right? So you're not always hustling and lying on the internet about your capabilities. You're actually solving problems for real companies.
That's great. So who would you say is your ideal client then? And
Well,
how
my
do you
ideal,
help them?
no, thanks for that question. So my ideal clients are, number one, coaching, consulting, and financial advising firms. The key word there is firms, not individuals, because I've found that the individuals are really stuck in the small ticket mindset. But once you find people who have formed teams, even if it's a team of 2 or 3 or 4, right? All of a sudden they shift into a thinking that is, more long-term and focused on value versus just quick acquisitions, focused on relationships. So, I'm looking for firms. I'm looking for, consulting and coaching companies. Who I help, and of course, the idea is to help them get into big companies and big firms as well. So it's all about big ticket clients. And the way I help them is it's a huge question, but one way I thought that I should start with is just to write a book. You guys, Melanie and Jen, are experts at that. You know that you got to write the Bible, right? And then you sort of use that knowledge as everything, your marketing content, your teaching content, and so on. So for me, the book I wanted to write had to be a book that was steeped in psychology. My PhD is all about narrative psychology. I wanted to do the research. I really wanted to understand why things work, not just what works. Because one of the problems I saw online is everybody's copying everybody. It's like, oh, here's this tip, here's that tip. We just copy everything and kludge it together, and we don't know if it works or why, but we're going to try it. And then when we fail, we don't know how to fix it because we didn't know anything about it in the first place. So my focus was, let's learn why things work. Okay, let's put together the strategies that actually work, and let's separate them from the strategies that don't work. And we use psychology as our filter. So in the long run, what I really ended up with was a book called Big Ticket Clients. You can't catch a whale with a worm. And what I mean by that is a lot of people are trying to use worms, little tiny small ticket marketing strategies like spamming email and Facebook advertising. They don't know what's happening, they're spending money to try to get big ticket clients, and big ticket clients are not responding. So you can't use a worm to catch a whale. You have to use appropriate relationship type formats and technologies and psychologies to get whales. And my favorite is what we're doing right now, which is podcasting.
All right, I have a question on top. I want to go back and ask you about podcasting and some of the other strategies, because you gave us some really good ones. So, one of the proponents is that we've been taught, and a lot of people are taught, is start with that low ticket item, get them in, move them up the ladder till they get have a book, which is great, and get them to digest your material. Do you still offer those low digital programs, or does that cheapen your brand by having, the $99 thing, the $200 thing, small consumable things? Or is it okay to still have that and be able to go after the big ticket people?
You want to have both, and I'll tell you why. First of all, anything works in marketing if you test it. You know how in real estate, and I know that you come from a real estate background, Melanie, in real estate, they say location, location, location. Well, in marketing, they say, or we say, testing, testing, testing. So what works for you, Melanie, might not actually work for me because our target clients are different. The psychology of that relationship is going to be different, and so on and so forth. So what you do is, if you do have the small ticket entry products, such as the $97 PDF or the, stuff like that, go ahead and offer them and test to see if those are really converting. Okay. But if you really want to have the full sort of lineup of capability, you need those things to attract people. And usually you're going to attract only 3% of your market. Okay. According to some research out there, the only people you're going to run into in a sales situation that want to buy now are 3% of everybody you talk to. So there's going to be 67 or more percent of people who saw your little offer but have no interest in buying right now. So what are you going to do to those people who said, I don't want to get married to you right now. I'm sorry. I want to go get coffee first. What do? Yeah. You got to have an offer that is a longer term play. And that's the role of content marketing. So if you think of lead generation and lead conversion, so lead generation, you can put any offer, all those tiny little offers that people use, go for it. But find a medium for your longer term conversions and content marketing. And it could be blogs, it could be interviews. But my favorite is podcasting because of the power of audio and video and the idea that the content isn't always yours, right? You can really become an authority and a celebrity by association with other people. It's powerful.
Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah. So tell us more about that. Tell us more about podcasting and why you think that's the most important thing.
Well, I think podcasting is absolutely the most powerful thing because of one word, and that is human. human. Okay. We're humans. I mean, look, Melanie, I don't buy from Elite Publishing. I buy from Melanie Johnson and her smile. I buy from your personality. I've got to see that. I got to hear that. And if we keep hiding behind emails and, email marketing and automations and all these other things that don't show off our human connection, we're not going to build the relationships. And we're not going to be able to scale those relationships if we're stuck in networking meetings, which is a one-on-one thing, or referral marketing, which you can't predict. So we need something that is both warm in relationships and, scalable, right? Warm and large in terms of reach, one-to-many reach. And for me, the sweet spot is podcasting, because on a podcast, in 30 minutes of a conversation, I can make a decision that I like these guys. I like these two folks I'm talking to, right? And so when it's time for us to talk about opportunities, I'll have that conversation with you. So relationship warmth is high. And then once we're done with this podcast, you can take this one episode and send it to millions of people. So it's got reach and relationships. I don't think anything else on the market has both warmth of relationships and scale of reach. That's why I love podcasting so much.
I agree, because you think about when someone is wanting to find out, who you are, if they like you, if they like your smile, your personality, your energy, if you're not anywhere to be found visually that they can tap into that, how do they know they can know, like, and trust you? Mm-hmm. So it's really populating. We have clients of ours that we started out with and they have no videos whatsoever. Like, nobody really knows who you are unless they've met you in person. So I think that strategy is terrific. It's right spot on. And the podcast lives forever. You can put it in multiple places. You can even edit it down and have short little versions of it. So walk us through real quick. Let's say I'm somebody new. I want to start a business. I've just gotten going. Walk me through what you think the steps I should take to get to that big ticket client. I know podcasting is number one. How do I start to find? I love that you said go after the firms, not the individuals. So one tip that I've learned recently is like, we had a client yesterday said, well, that money's going to come out of our marketing budget for the book. So whatever it is, so, it's not that individual, like I'm looking at my bank account and I only have so much money in my bank account. They're writing it off as a business expense and the dollars are different. So walk us through of how we should find those big ticket clients, steps that we should take to set ourselves up with those systems in place from the beginning, so we're not making all those mistakes along the way.
What a great question, Melanie. And if you remember our very first, the very first answer I gave you, I told you how much I love the word story, right? Because of how my mother told me stories when bombs were falling. Well, guess what my 5-step strategy is? Guess how it's spelled? STORY. Hey,
Perfect.
We can remember that.
story. Perfect. So yes, I do have a formula that is very well researched, and I'll tell you what it is. You see, it's all about looking at your big ticket clients and your prospects as people who are walking through a story, right? They have a life right now. And if you map their story, it's the same structure of any story that's ever been told, okay? The first thing in a story is that you have strangers. You don't know who these people are in the story. So that's the S. You have to deal with strangers in a psychology and a relationship technology approach that is appropriate. One of the biggest mistakes most of us make in the strangers phase, which is the S, biggest mistake is that we forget that the rules of interaction with human beings online are the same as the rules offline. I mean, you wouldn't go up to some stranger and tap him on the back and say, hey, how you doing? You want to go get married? You wouldn't do that, right? So why do people do that online? Hey, I mean, have you guys gotten emails like, hi, my name is this person and my company can solve all your marketing problems. Just click this button and I will give you the pleasure of a 30-minute meeting. Really?
Yeah.
So strangers phase is all about developing the right psychologies and the relationship technology approaches that work there. And there are several of them. So that's the one. The second stage up that you've got to take your prospects through is the trust phase. That's the STORY. Strangers trust, offer, results, and then you. The trust phase is all about, okay, now I've done some lead generation in the strangers phase. How do I do some lead conversion? And the trust phase is where podcasts live. You don't want to use a podcast to introduce people to you for the first time. A book might work better, a website might work better, an automation on LinkedIn, or even a Facebook ad. All those things work better in the strangers phase. But in the trust phase, this is the role of content marketing. You want people to see your blogs, your podcasts, the things that you're doing, the actions you're taking. You know, they say that actions speak louder than words, okay? Think of the strangers phase as where you're throwing out a bunch of words. I'm the best on the market. I can do this. I can do that. But it's the trust phase where they're going to see your actions. When they see you in a podcast setting or see your blogs that you've written, that's when you really convert people into possible people who want to see your offer, which takes us to the third phase, your offer. You've got to have a dynamite offer. I help people craft the most amazing webinars, videos, and sort of presentations that are based on the psychology of story, right? A lot of people just think, oh, I'm just going to talk. I'm just going to tell them what I do, features and benefits, blah, blah, blah. And no one cares, right? Even in our little talk, Melanie, today, when you were showing me how to position my book page, I really appreciated your approach because guess what? It follows the narrative psychology approach, right? So we teach people how to do presentations, realizing that a book page is also a presentation. So, thank you for that. But we teach people how to create these offers because when people are ready to view your offer, you don't want to miss that opportunity by boring them to death, okay? Or just not presenting something that matters. Then the next phase is the results phase. Now, most people stop at the offer phase because once they get the client, they're like, yeah, I'm done with marketing. You're not. You just started. Because the real marketing in my book and in my world, real marketing ends when someone refers you to someone else or comes back for the second appointment. The first appointment was just a trial run. So the results phase is where you've got to develop that relationship, create leadership that helps them get results, and then give them a referral package. That means you have to have a referral system so they can bring new people for you. And then the last phase is you. So we've gone strangers, trust, offer, results, help people get results. And then the last phase is you, which is now no longer are you telling your story, but other people are telling you the story, are telling your story for you, and you are the hero of the story they're telling others. That's really the sweet spot. When you've got other people like your customers, your referral partners, marketing for you, gold. Can't be any better than that. So that's the story approach, STORY.
I love it. That's awesome.
Thank
Such
you.
great content and all of that. I mean, I take notes and write it down a couple times. I love it. I love it.
Yeah, you're gonna have to rewind this and listen to it over and over again and write it all down. And then as I was writing down, as he was talking, I have all these notes I'm writing sideways. I'm like, okay. And I have the podcast, right? And I'm already like writing feverishly. So I have a question on the offer part. When you say you craft the offer and it's based on the story, do you have a story with, so let's say you're sending a proposal out. So you've talked to them, they say, hey, I like you, send me your offer, or send me a contract out, let me take a look at it. In that email, would you suggest that you put a little story instead of like, you could list, okay, here's your package, we're looking forward to working with you, let us know if you have any questions, here are some of the benefits of, you know, the results that you're going to get. Should you also put like a testimonial story or results of somebody that worked with you, of the results that they got, stick that in the email? Or should you have a personal story in there? Kind of walk us through, you're sending the offer out, what should go with that in the email process and even in the follow-up phone call?
Okay, well, again, great questions. And I want to go back to what you said, which is really how does story come into play there? Because I think that's what you want me to focus on. All right. So here's the deal. We have to remember that story, right, is a universal thing that sort of works for all of us in our minds. It's like there's a brain-based approach to story. Anytime you can structure what you're saying or what you're proposing as a story, people perk up. You know, I think one of the most powerful words in the English, phrases in the English language are once upon a time. Because when you say that, everybody goes, oh, okay, yeah, I want to listen to that, you know? So when you're writing a proposal, instead of, here are the features and benefits of our product, here's why you should love our product, instead of it being all about you, switch that to being all about the person you're sending it to and write a story featuring them as the hero. So how would such a proposal start? Hello, Mrs. X. Thank you for our meeting the other day. Based on everything we heard from you, here's what we think your future looks like. You're going to show up. We're going to build this for you. You're going to be really happy. You're going to have your author page. You're going to be #1 bestseller. You're going to do this and this. And when you're done, you're going to be able to tell your husband or your best friends that you rocked it with elite online publishing. Right?
Yes.
You didn't say a word about you, but you did. Because you painted a story of them walking through your story, right? So, you know, Game of Thrones, except you're all 7 kingdoms, yes. And they're the ones playing all the games and doing all the things that gets them to be the success story in that story. So that's it. Just take whatever proposal or presentation or whatever it is and flip it, right? Hide the benefits as the things your hero runs up against along the way, so that way they perceive this as 100% all about them. As you taught me today, don't start with my story. Start with what they care about, which is, well, how much money have you made someone else? You know, so it's obvious that this works in everything you do, from book authoring, which is your expertise, you know, to podcast and online marketing, which is mine.
Yeah, I love all that. That's great. Well, can you wrap up with, tell us a little bit more about the music side, because you said that music is also very powerful. So tell us about the music.
Oh man, we don't even have time.
Give us a quick, maybe they'll just have to buy the book, right?
Yeah, you have to buy the book, because I actually include 10 of my songs at the very last chapter of the book as motivational and meditation offerings.
Nice.
But here's the truth about music. If I could throw everything away and just play my guitar on the street, I would do that. But then the mortgage people would probably show up, and my car, things would go wrong. Let's put it that way, right? So I love music that much. I produced records that were on Billboard charts, top 50. I worked for major labels like EMI Records back in the 90s. But I just woke up one day, got married, had kids, and had to use the whole multimedia love affair that I was having to make people money. And that's where I am today. So I'm a songwriter. And if you go to drpele.com, you just go to the music and you'll see all my videos and songs. All my pieces are motivational in nature. And that's kind of what I do. So thanks for that question.
So here's a guy, he's multidimensional. He's not just a business person, entrepreneur. He also is creative director of his passionate of music. And not many people have that combination, right? That you've got both sides. So tell us where you've given us so much information. Everyone go back, go listen about the story again, break that all down. And I'm going to challenge everyone to, after you finish this podcast, I want you to take just 5 minutes and write down as many stories as you can think of that will relate to your customers. If you do that, you'll have the start of what you need to start to connect to those big ticket clients. So tell us where we can reach you and people can get in contact with you, Dr. Pele.
Thank you for that. And I think the very best way to reach me is just to go to drpele.com. It's drpele.com. And you'll have the ability to either watch my masterclass or connect with me directly, or even maybe start a podcast conversation with me from that location. So that would be the best place. Thank you so much.
Awesome. We'll put that link up at the bottom so people can see it on YouTube. And if you're listening, it's drpele.com.
And it's P-E-L-E. Make sure you check out his book. Definitely buy his book and get that system. I guarantee, well, I can't guarantee because you have to implement, but you will get a lot out of it and you should be able to increase your revenue just by using the things that you learned here today and then get more of it from his book. So thanks for tuning in today. Remember to subscribe to our podcast. We love to have new subscribers. We'd love to hear from you. We will answer any comments that you have that you put in there. And also, if you want to become an author, a best-selling author, we would love to have you work with us with our big smiles, as Dr. Pele says. So Jen and I have tons of energy, and we have made every single one of our authors a #1 bestseller in multiple categories on Amazon. And we'd be interested in talking to you to see if you're a good fit for us. So look at us at eliteonlinepublishing.com, and we will see you and hear you next time. If you'd like to create the most powerful advertising tool for your business, contact us at eliteonlinepublishing.com, where we will help you create, publish, and make your book a #1 bestseller and show you how to get new leads and more revenue for your business. If you'd like to check us out on our Facebook page, we have a free book for you as our gift. Just go and click free book. Remember to subscribe and leave a comment for our podcast. We would love to hear from you.